What secret about the company you used to work for can you share? This company no longer exists, but in the early 90s, I worked at Radio Shack for a year and a half. When customers returned faulty products, the store manager would just repackage them and sell them as new. When I asked him why he did that, he replied, "I just hope they return it to another store." I almost got fired when I refused to sell a guy a walkie-talkie that I knew wasn't working. The guy was going hunting and wanted to buy 3 identical walkie-talkies for himself and his friends. We had 2 working ones, but the third one was broken. In front of the customer, I told the manager that I had checked one of the walkie-talkies and it didn't work. The guy was glad I told him that, and we agreed that he would pick up the third one at another of our stores, and he left. The manager was furious and nearly fired me. Sorry, but I'm not sending people into the woods with gear I know doesn't work. The funniest part is that a few months later, that manager got caught stealing from the store and was fired. I used to work at a graphic design company. All our Adobe software was pirated. From what I've heard about Adobe, if I were doing something like that, I'd pirate it too. I used to work in a casino, sitting in the surveillance room. From about 3 floors up, we could zoom the camera in on the money lying on the gaming tables and read the serial numbers on the bills. We could even see the tiny dots on the dice. However, we were strictly forbidden to look under ladies' blouses. In Vegas, everyone has to watch everyone else. Since players try to cheat the casino, dealers watch the players, boxmen watch the dealers, floormen watch the boxmen, supervisors watch the floormen, shift bosses watch the supervisors, and the casino manager watches the shift bosses. I watch the manager, and the eye in the sky watches us all. All the new clothes and everything you try on in the store is dirty. I worked in retail for many years, and a lot of people might be shocked, but there's no washing machine here, no disinfectant spray, no wipes. Nothing at all. I've opened boxes of new clothes and seen little white bugs crawling out of them. I've seen women come in right after workouts, all sweaty and stinky, try on clothes, then just hang them back up and walk out. One time, an older woman tried on some clothes and left behind flakes of skin the size of a dime. Not to mention, sometimes customers return clothes, and who knows what they did to them at home. And we have no clue what goes on at the factories. People are gross. Everything's dirty everywhere. So seriously, whenever you get home from the store, always wash your new clothes. Call center. When you hear the automated message, "We're currently experiencing a high volume of calls, please hold," you know that message isn't going anywhere. The company's management just didn't staff the team properly. One summer, I worked as a dog groomer. We give treats to the dogs even when they were behaving badly. I mean, that's just crazy. If you don't hear any music while you're supposedly on hold, just know the operator probably muted the mic and can still hear you. I've overheard some seriously interesting and honestly terrifying things from customers who thought I couldn't hear them. I used to work in the insurance industry. Turns out, hundreds of people without any special clearance can access your social security number. The same goes for pretty much any HR department. The company I worked for literally kept an unprotected Google Sheets file with everyone's addresses, social security numbers, and even their salaries. I used to work for a big cable TV company, Time Warner. We had 4 billing cycles. At one point, they updated the billing system but messed something up, and every cycle except the current one got flagged as overdue. Instead of fixing the mistake right away, we were told to apply payments only if a customer called us. I ran some numbers and found out that 1/3 of all the residents in our city were sent incorrect bills. The total error was over $1 million. In the end, most people just kept paying their bills without even noticing the mix-ups. One time, The manager at an Airbus fast food restaurant swapped out the expiration date stickers on the bread for fresh ones, probably to keep it around longer. In the end, I had to throw out nearly 100 flatbreads covered in greenish mold. I worked for a big construction company, and often sellers would purposely leave things out of contracts, because then they get extra pay for change orders. Me. You forgot to include the frames in the contract. Sneaky seller. Oh, looks like you'll have to put in a change order for that. I worked for a company that handled home restoration and cleaning. One time, an elderly woman came to us asking to restore her house. I can't quite remember if she was a hoarder who collected junk and trash, or if there'd been a fire. Either way, our company billed her $57,000. But honestly, they couldn't even justify $20,000 in expenses. She wasn't able to get her insurance to pay out. There were other examples of outrageous overcharging, but this was the worst case I know of that didn't involve massive damage. The lesson? If you've gone through a flood, fire, or your house got moldy or trashed, and you call a company to clean up, go through every single line on their bill. Every single one. The difference between premium deli meats sold in fancy butcher shops and the regular deli meats you find in other grocery stores? We just swapped the labels. We literally stopped the production line, waited for the guy running the labeling machine to switch them out, and then started the line back up again. This happens with pretty much any product. Edit. I'm honestly fascinated by how we perceive product quality. I work at a winery, and I'm blown away by how much people are willing to spend on wine just because the packaging makes it look high-end. Of course, marketing plays a huge role too. Regular store brands don't invest much in advertising, or they spend way less, so the production costs for those wines stay low. Cheaper packaging, cheaper marketing, same product, just a lower price. Usually, hotels don't have 24/7 security, maintenance, or cleaning staff. Once the housekeepers finish cleaning all the rooms, the whole staff leaves, except for the one person at the front desk. Yep, me, a 19-year-old kid at the time, working in a pretty popular hotel, was often left completely alone. There were moments when I honestly had no clue what to do. Guests would call saying something in their room was broken. And literally, all I could do was go upstairs and try to fix whatever was wrong. Meanwhile, the front desk would be totally unattended. And this was happening at 9 p.m., not 3 in the morning. We've got this super popular restaurant in town, supposedly one of the best, that everyone loves going to. They claim all their food is homemade. The place is especially famous for its hot beef sandwiches, with homemade potatoes, gravy, and fried fish. Their fried fish is listed on the menu as cod on a platter. But in reality, the gravy is just an instant mix from Cisco. Same with the mashed potatoes, and they only serve fresh, fried cod on Fridays. If you order it any other day of the week, what you'll get is a breaded fish fillet from Cisco with random bits of fish thrown in. I used to work at L'Oreal. The makeup from L'Oreal and Lancome is almost identical, except Lancome costs about $20 more. I'm about 90% sure the company I worked for was importing products from China, repackaging them, and selling them as made in the USA. Basically, they'd mix that stuff with the products that were actually made in the States. If you've ever chatted with a customer support agent online, just know, I could see what you were typing before you hit send. I've watched people, in real time, type out offensive, racist, or sexist stuff, come up with scams and lies, obsessively fix their grammar mistakes, pour out all their emotions, only to delete it all and just write, okay. I spent over 10 years working as a cleaner in a big hotel chain. You wouldn't believe how many people either take their own lives or just die of natural causes in hotel rooms. I worked in a huge hotel with over 1,000 rooms, and I ran into this more often than you'd think. Usually, we just remove the body, do a regular cleaning, unless it was something truly horrific, and the next guest checking in had no idea what had happened. At one of the hotels I worked at, a woman took her own life by drinking antifreeze. Her body turned blue, and there was blood, vomit, and crap everywhere. My friend, who was on duty that night, saw it all. He couldn't sleep for a long time afterward. Working in hotels changes you. Movie theaters don't make their money from tickets. They make it from food and drinks. That said, 99.9% of theater employees won't care if you bring your own snacks. We just ask you to be discreet enough so the 0.1% of people who do care don't chew us out for it. I work at an ice plant. My shift supervisor accidentally dropped a 7-gram bag of wheat into a bag of ice. It got shipped out. Nobody called or complained. Aha, did anyone call to say thanks? During that time, there were tons of confirmed cases of sexual abuse against young women, 18 to 25, from Syria and Iraq, carried out by staff from government refugee agencies. After digging deeper, my team and I found out that counselors from one agency were getting involved intimately with refugee girls. They'd deny these women job opportunities to keep them financially trapped on purpose. And when the girls got desperate, the counselors would suggest they turn to private prostitution. After uncovering all this, I reported it to the organization's leadership. They thanked me, and the next day the counselors were fired. I was invited to an important meeting with upper management where they apologized, saying, "We don't do things like this. Please don't get the wrong idea." Blah, blah, blah. But over the next 3 months, I and 6 other whistleblowers and investigators on the case were all fired from the company. Each of us for different reasons. On paper, it looked like a coincidence, but in reality, they just kicked us out one by one. The 2 counselors from that agency who were the worst offenders? Turns out they weren't fired at all. They were allowed to resign, and now they're working for another agency, still dealing with vulnerable young women. Back in the day, I worked as a receptionist at a high-end beauty salon. While I was there, the salon launched a new product line aimed at men. Up until then, most of our products were designed for women, but management noticed that more and more male clients were coming in. Every product in the men's line was about half the price of the women's version. The men's shampoo was literally the same shampoo we'd been selling for years. But because it came in a black bottle labeled for men, it was half the price. The salon owner explained it like this: "Well, men don't really want to spend much on hair products." The whole time I worked there, whenever a female client was about to buy shampoo, I'd tell her to grab the men's one. It's the exact same thing, just half the price. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment below sharing any secrets from a company you used to work for. And don't forget to check out our other videos. See ya!